Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Play on GAA podcast. This is a preview of the Fitzgibbon Cup for 2022. Luke, we didn't get the Fitzgibbon Cup last year, obviously due to the pandemic, but we have it back this year. I mean, the talent that's on show here, absolutely through the roof, and yeah, it's going to be a joy to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember, and when it was last played, I suppose 2 years ago now, DC, I remember I was on up in the college when I was up there at the time, and it was kind of surreal being able to go up to games. You'd finish up the lectures for the day, and you just stroll up, and there'd be games with like the UCC playing where they'd about 15 inter-county players. So it's this competition is just unbelievable, and when it gets down to the final stages of the top 3 or 4 teams when they're playing each other, like it's as good as inter-county standards. So it's absolutely delighted to have it back, and I can't wait to see how it works out again this year.
Yeah, without doubt, it'll be fascinating to watch. So the way that we have decided to do our preview for the 2022 Fitzgibbon Cup is we're going to do a power rankings, just like we did in the football. But our top 8 is what we're going to focus on for the official preview. And we're going to start with number 8, WIT from Waterford. Very, very talented side. I mean, the names that jump out from the side here, I mean, immediately you're looking at the likes of Tom Barron. You're not looking at the likes of Billy Nolan from Waterford. They're a strong side. Luke, do you think that they have a chance of winning?
Yeah, look, it's a good team. They're probably a fair bit behind the top teams. I think also important to mention Shane Bennett probably will go in there about either centre half back or centre half forward as well, and like obviously huge experience as well. They've some other kind of good players in there as well, with like Alan Kerwin, Ross Smithers has a bit of inter-county experience with Carlow, Owen O'Shea as well, good player from Kilkenny, O'Loughlin Gales. I think they'll be a little bit short, but like, yeah, I think they're a good side. Maybe the Gavin Fives and Tom Barron in midfield would be a nice kind of combination in there. Billy Nolan be floating around there too. So it's I think they'll be strong enough around the middle, but maybe just lacking that the scoring forwards to probably trouble the top teams.
Yeah, I agree, but I think that they have it in them to cause an upset anyway. So moving up the rankings then to number 7, we have UCD here from Dublin. Some very, very good, strong players in this UCD side. I mean, you're looking through the list there. You've got a lot of Dublin underage talent. You've got Ian O'Hare from Ballantyre St. John's, Liam Murphy from Coola. And you've also got then established players in that side, the likes of Brian Sheehy then from Kilmacud Crokes, who was outstanding at fullback for Kilmacud as they won the Dublin Championship this season. But who to you is really jumping off the sheet at you there now?
Well, I think the big thing for them was that they'll be absolutely delighted looking on that. I suppose that Kilmacud Crokes were knocked out of the club championship, because straight away now, I'd say 3 of their starting 6 will be Kilmacud players. Like Brian Sheehy will be going fullback, and I think that the Keno Cossig will go in cornerback, and Porrick Linehan will go in wing back, and they're all really, really good players. So that was absolutely huge for them as well. The other player I'm really, really interested to see, I think Donald O'Shea will probably go centre half forward. He's like obviously famously is Eamon O'Shea's son. He's been an absolute revelation for the Galway underage teams, the ones that have won so much in the last couple of years. And there's a lot of talk that he'll probably go on and play senior level. So I'm actually dying to see how he's going to get on at centre half forward. So yeah, I think a lot of really strong Dublin underage talent have been playing in the All-Ireland finals, like in recent years. Like they had that spell where they've done really, really well, and a lot of this UCD team is made up of those players. So them, and I think Donald O'Shea in there too, and maybe Owen Guilfoyle as well for Kilkenny. So I think it's a good solid team, just probably as well lacking a little bit behind some of the teams when it comes to talent levels that we're going to talk about going forward.
Yeah, well, going forward, moving up the rankings again, we move up to Mary Immaculate College from Limerick. They're ranked in here for us at number 6. I mean, you look at their team straight away, the players that jump out, Josh Considine, Jason Galan, very strong forwards. But how would you rate the rest of the team?
Yeah, look, I think this is when the jump kind of starts to happen here. Is that I think the level kind of goes up a bit more from who we've been talking about already, and that this is when we start to get into the really quality teams. Like, so we're looking at, like, obviously Devani from Borrisoleigh, he's going to look realist. He's going to be playing for Tipperary next year. Anthony Lawler, Jonathan Nolan both played an awful lot for Carlow. Diarmid Ryan, name known all across the country, playing for Clare. Darragh Lohan's going to be around as well. So as well, I think you're looking at Andrew Ormond, Keith Ryan, Devon Ryan, all these players have great chances of playing for Tipperary in the near future. So this team, I think there's an awful lot of very, very good young players in this team, but they maybe just haven't quite made that jump, I think, to start and for their inter-county teams. There's no doubt that I think in a few years that most of these lads will be starting for their inter-county teams, but they're just not quite there right now. So that's probably why they're a little bit lower down. But they absolutely have huge levels of talent in that team, and they're going to be really, really exciting to watch. And we've seen some of the shocks that Mary Immaculate have done in recent years that I would absolutely definitely not bet against them shocking one of the teams that we've ranked ahead of them right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either, to be honest. They have a lot of talent in their side. And that takes us into the top 5. And number 5 is UL from Limerick. And I mean, they have a lot of potential players in their side. Mark Rogers is the man who jumps out to me. He played for Clare, came off the bench against Tipperary and caused a lot of problems for Tipperary. He's a very, very talented forward. Apart from that, they have players like Brian O'Mara, Conor Flaherty. They have good players. But do you think that they can kind of challenge the big boys this year?
Yeah, these are a really interesting one to me now. And I think like they could nearly have been ranked a little bit higher probably, but a lot of this is kind of projection with them as well, I think too, because in a way I nearly expect the likes of Brian O'Mara and particularly Kieran Connolly from Lockmore Castellani to get an awful lot of game time for Tipperary this year. And like they haven't been starting championship games, but with new management coming in and everything as well, I think that this competition is going to be really important for them, because when they play this competition, they're going to probably miss out on a bit of pre-season games for the county. So they really need to perform well, and so I'll be really kind of closely watching these to see kind of how they get on, because I'd fully expect the two I've mentioned already there, Michael Kiley as well from Waterford and TJ Brennan. I'd fully expect all of them to be very, very close to starting for their county teams this year. So like I really think there's serious talent in that team as well. Keane Galvin, another really good prospect too. So I think if things start clicking for them, I think that they have a great chance of going very, very far into this competition. And because like the level of talent is right up there as some of the best that we've seen kind of in the list of squads that we have here. So it's just a matter of seeing how ready these guys are for playing at the elite level.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how close that they can get to that level in this competition. But now really the cream rises to the top with the top 4. I mean, the first side in that top 4 is NUIG. I mean, they have hurler of the year and one of the best hurlers that I've ever seen in Keane Lynch, but he's not short of a supporting cast, is he?
No, this team is very, very strong. And I think the big thing to take, some people might be a bit surprised because with the names that we're about to list here, that they're kind of as low as they are, but I think they just have some ridiculous like elite talent. And I suppose straight away to get into it, Keane Lynch will be about midfield. Evan Nyland's probably going to be centre half forward. Darren Morrissey and Jack Fitzpatrick will probably make up the spine of that defence. And then they've Brian Concannon further up as well. Also, be really interested to watch the two Salmons from Claren Bridge, who both had really, really good club championships there as well. And I'd expect them both to be called up to the Galway senior panel next year as well. So, the reason I think that they're down in 4th, despite that all that talent, is that maybe the supporting cast probably isn't at the same level of the 3 teams above them that we're going to see. But the 7 or 8 players that we mentioned there, I think, are as good as any players that are left in the competition as well. So anytime you've got a spine like that, I think you're definitely in a shot. And that's why they have to be considered as strong contenders for this competition.
Yeah, and with the talent that they have like that, I think you can't put anything past them. I would see them almost as having a bit of the Patrick Swell effect, that they were in that final against Kilmallock in the Limerick Championship, and you looked at the talent that they had, and you were thinking there's no way that they're not going to beat Kilmallock, but then Kilmallock got the job done just by having a better 15 rather than the better individual stars.
Yeah, look, I think so. Like, of course, there are some like good complementary pieces. Like you look at the likes of Dara Flannery from Killadangan, who's a very good player as well. Mark Kennedy from Clarenbridge too. Conor Elwood, Liam Ford has a bit of experience. Aina McMahon as well from Clare. So there are some good players there, but I just think that the additional 15, like the rest of the team making up the starting 15, just isn't quite probably at the level of the 3 teams above them that we're about to talk about.
Yeah, and the first one of those 3 teams that we're going to talk about coming in at number 3 is the college, which really prides themselves on their sports credentials. And again, they produced a fantastic hurling team. It's DCU. And again, strong Dublin influences in the side. You've got Dara Gray from Whitehall Columkill there, who is a senior hurler for Dublin, wing back, centre half back. Then you've got the likes of Eddie Moran, Enda O'Donnell, who have all played underage hurling for Dublin. And then moving even further down the team, you've got James Bergen there, who started senior hurling for Kilkenny this year. Conal Clancy as well as on the Wexford senior hurling side. Sean Curry as well shot the lights out for Na Fianna in the Dublin club hurling final against Kilmacud Croke. So talent throughout this team once again for DCU.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I think part of this team, I think, is looking at their forward line. Like you've already talked about James Bergen, who's going to probably score a load from corner forward as well. I think Rory O'Connor from Wexford, obviously huge name. He's going to be probably the key scorer from centre half forward. And obviously Sean Curry had a really, really good Dublin championship as well. So I think Ross Banville and Jim Ryan as well are two really good forwards as well. So I'd expect them to score and should be no problem for this team. And yeah, look, it's strong all over as well. And you add in the supporting cast there as well. David Blanchfield's got a fair bit of game time for Kilkenny last year as well. He's a really, really good prospect. Andrew Dunphy as well is a really good Dublin player too. So between him and Kevin Burke and that full-back line with Blanchfield centre half back, I think there's no real weaknesses in this team. And it's just a really, really strong 15. Maybe the elite kind of level players that Rory O'Connor is probably the real elite player. It's not quite the same level of superstars as NUIG, but I just think it's a more rounded 15, and that's why they probably squeak ahead of NUIG in the rankings.
So that takes us into the top two then. And then second place is we've gone for IT Carlow. And I mean, this team is absolutely stacked to the hills again. You've got Jason Clear there. You've got Cathal Dunbar from Wexford. The names that really jump out as well. Chris Nolan from Carlow is a superb hurler. And then on top of that, you've got established stars like Young Hurler of the Year, Owen Cody from Kilkenny. I think just a brilliant team for IT Carlow this year.
Yeah, look, completely. And I think people sometimes forget that this IT Carlow side only lost to UCC by 1 point in the Fitzgibbon final the last time around. And that is probably one of the strongest UCC sides, like strongest Fitzgibbon side I think that there's ever been put on the field. So that team was so close to turning them over. And look, the forward line for this team is just ridiculous. Kind of, you're looking at Jerry Kelly probably is the best player that's not on an inter-county panel right now, I think. So he was unbelievable in the last Fitzgibbon campaign too. They've Chris Nolan, who's a quality forward. Marty Kavanagh as well from Carlow, who's been consistently putting up huge scores as well. Cathal Dunbar, Owen Cody's already been mentioned. The only thing I think to worry about is that, look, as Ballyhale continue to progress throughout the club championship, the availability of Owen Cody will be a bit of a question. But look, they can still field a full forward line that is going to put up huge tallies with they can go with Seamus Casey, Chris Nolan and Cathal Dunbar, and that's still an unbelievably good full forward line. And it's not even just that as well. You can look at the backs. Niall Brassel is in there too, Jason Clear, Delaney, Shane Reck and everything as well. So look, it's a very, very good team. And I think they have to probably be considered above DCU. Number one, on their experience in the competition. I think that they've always performed better. They've have DJ Carey leading them still. They've a really strong team as well. So I think, look, they're absolutely deserving of this ranking in second.
Yeah, I agree. But we just about are given the nod to UCC as our official pick to retain their Fitzgibbon Cup title again. I mean, when you look at the UCC side, it's not really that hard to figure out why we have gone for them as our number one team. I mean, the talent in this squad is unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. And the level of players that are household names in this team already is just it's outrageous, really. Like, just to kind of give a brief idea, like Niall O'Leary's there, Robert Downey's there, Jack O'Connor is there, Mark Keogh's there, Connor Boylan's there, Irla Daly's there, Jeremy Millerick, and these are all players that have several players that have been nominated for All-Stars and stuff already. So to have this level of talent in a college team already is just it's outrageous. And then, even just to go through some of the supporting cast as well, Conor Bowe's done some great things, Ronan Connolly as well, Killian O'Dwyer is a great college player, Tommy O'Connell will be playing for Cork next year, Dara Connery has been playing a bit for Cork, Shane Barrett as well has been getting on in several games for Cork in the last year. I think Dara O'Leary is going to make a huge push in this competition as well. So look, based off this, I think we've already listed close to about 15 players already that are playing elite level already. So and there's some players that have been unfortunate for that I haven't even mentioned there so far. So I think based off that, they're the defending champions. They know how to win in this competition as well. I think they have a great chance. And the only thing maybe IT Carlow might be favoured a little bit in the fact that the competition, the finals, will be hosted in their college this year. But I do think that based off the panel, if we're going with the strength of the panel, I think we'd have to go with UCC as our favourites right now.
Yeah, that's a good point that you made about the final taking place in IT Carlow. That could be a huge advantage for them. But that's even if they make the final. You never know how the draw could go. IT Carlow could get knocked out in the semi-final. You never know. So I think UCC, they are the strongest side. I mean, you didn't even mention there Conor Cahalan, who obviously played in midfield for Cork and wing forward in the championship this season, as well as that Porrig Power is a player that I've marked as being someone who will definitely come through for the Cork seniors over the next few years. He's a brilliant young talent. I just think that they are the best side. So I think that's why they have to be our number one pick.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's hard to argue with a team like that. So look, it's going to be really exciting to kind of watch that team. And like some of the players that we've mentioned there as well, you're kind of trying to work out in your head how you even fish like all those players into one side with the quality of the forwards that we've mentioned. Like, how do you narrow that down to 6? How do you narrow that down to a structure in which they can all play to the best of their ability as well? Like, you need to have some kind of players in there to do a lot of the dirty work in there too, to allow these kind of really, really good scoring forwards to shine. So it'll be really interesting to see how they line up actually on paper. And I think that's going to be a really interesting one to watch from a few of the teams we've talked about there already.
Yeah, no doubt. And I can't wait for the Fitzgibbon Cup in 2022. I think it's going to be an epic one because, we've waited for so long. And I think the freshness and enthusiasm in the competition this season, I think it will be definitely one to watch. So, guys, make sure to tune in. And that is our preview of the Fitzgibbon Cup for 2022. All right, guys. So that is the preview of the Fitzgibbon Cup for 2022. Don't forget to look at all our other content, including our preview of the 2022 Sigerson Cup. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until the next video, guys, take care.